Today, Donald Trump irreparably destroyed the 80-year-old post-World War II international order. His total abandonment of Ukraine in front of the cameras was on display for the entire world to see. It was a truly historic moment, not in the good way.
Chris Hayes from MSNBC recently shared his thoughts on a significant moment involving Donald Trump and Ukraine. He stated that today Trump made a move that could potentially harm the 80-year-old international system that has been in place since World War II. Chris explained that Trump's complete abandonment of Ukraine, especially with Cameron ruling, was an act that sent a powerful message to the world. This moment, according to Chris, wasn't a historic in a positive way. Instead, it marked a turning point that could reshape the global order. He warned that it disrupted the foreign policy agreement that many Americans and Europeans have followed for years.
Today, Donald Trump irreparably destroyed the 80-year-old post-World War II international order. His total abandonment of Ukraine in front of the cameras was on display for the entire world to see. It was a truly historic moment, not in the good way. One that I fear realigned the world order, upending the only foreign policy consensus that most living Americans and Europeans have ever known.
Chris emphasized that Trump became upset because Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, said negative things about him. This reaction from Trump, according to Chris, seemed to stem from his close relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has been a long-time ally of Trump.
He got upset because he was saying negative things about Donald Trump's buddy, mentor, something else, Vladimir Putin. That's what happened.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If today is your first time, I'm excited to see you here. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Notice family for your top trending highlights and reactions. And without wasting much more time, let's continue. Chris Hayes also shared his reaction to Trump's recent comments about Ukraine and Zelensky. He began by clarifying that while there has been a lot to criticize about US foreign policy over the last 80 years, especially from his perspective as a journalist and a commentator, what is happening now under Trump action is far more concerning. Chris explained that Trump is doing more than just speaking. He is actively making decisions that have real consequences by partnering with authoritarian regimes and siding with Vladimir Putin against democratic allies. Trump is creating a situation that is worse than anything seen before. Chris emphasized that this shift will have massive long-term consequences for global politics for many years.
Let's be clear here. There is a lot, so much to criticize about the past 80 years of American foreign policy. I've been doing a lot of that criticizing myself for most of my time as a professional journalist, commentator. What Donald Trump is building in its wake right now, in front of all of us, with these actions, he's doing things. It's not just words. Where the United States partners itself with authoritarian regimes, sides with Vladimir Putin, against democratic allies, is undoubtedly worse than what we had before. This will have massive consequences for global politics for decades to come.
He pointed out that the long-standing American-European alliance, which has been a cornerstone of post-World War II diplomacy, is effectively over. For 80 years, the United States has built its strongest alliance with fellow democracies, not authoritarian regimes. But now that the guiding principle is coming to an end, all because of decisions being made today, Chris finished by saying that 80 years of diplomacy, born out of the aftermath of the war and the loss of 35 million lives, is being undone by just one man in one moment.
The American-European alliance is effectively over. The North Star of the post-war order, where the United States' strongest alliances are with fellow democracies over authoritarian regimes, has ended. 80 years of diplomacy, born of ashes and 35 million dead, undone by one and a half men today.
The week started with the U.S. siding with Russia and North Korea at the UN, refusing to condemn Russian aggression in Ukraine. It ended with this Oval Office confrontation with Zelensky. Is President Trump realigning the United States with Russia here?
House Speaker Mike Johnson has reaffirmed the United States' commitment to supporting Ukraine, despite recent tensions between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky, following the continuous meeting where Trump accused Zelensky of gambling with World War III. Johnson emphasized that the U.S. will not abandon Ukraine. Johnson criticized Zelensky's behavior during the meeting, suggesting that if Zelensky doesn't come to his senses, perhaps someone needs to lead Ukraine. However, he also underscored the importance of the U.S.-Ukraine mineral deal and reiterated America's stance against Russia's aggression.
Is President Trump realigning the United States with Russia here?
No, President Trump is trying to get these two parties to a point of peace. And it takes certain maneuvers and certain strategies to do that. You have two parties who, to this point, have not shown any interest, apparently, in getting to peace. What President Zelensky did in the White House was effectively signal to us that he's not ready for that yet. And I think that's a grave disappointment. We have to get this settled. And we stand with our allies, we always do, but they have to be reasonable. You've got to bring an end to this war. And for Zelensky to come in and make demands that he wasn't even making a year ago, I think shows that his priorities are in the wrong place. And I certainly hope that he will come back to his senses. President Trump has been very clear about this.
Is the United States abandoning Ukraine?
No, they're not abandoning Ukraine. I was with the president a day before that meeting, and he was excited about this mineral rights deal. He believed it, and we all believed it, to be in the best interest of both countries. It is not the president and the vice president that berated Zelensky. I saw it the other way around. I saw Zelensky rather stiff-necked in the Oval Office. Instead of being gracious and saying thank you and looking for a way out of this mess, he did quite the opposite. Look, that's why members of Congress are frustrated. That's why the American people are frustrated about this. We have to stand for America's principles and America's priorities.
European leaders have rallied behind Zelensky, organizing summits to support Ukraine and work towards peace initiatives. British Prime Minister Starmer called for Europeans to take greater responsibility for its defense, emphasizing continuous military and economic support for Ukraine.
Well, let me just say that you're very, very welcome here in Downing Street. You have full backing across the United Kingdom, and we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take.
Following a tense meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump, Ukraine President Zelensky received a warm reception from UK Prime Minister Starmer in London. The UK reaffirmed its unwavering support for Ukraine, with Starmer stating, "You have full backing across the UK. This support includes a $2.26 billion loan to boost Ukraine defense capabilities, repayable through profits from frozen Russian assets."
Well, let me just say that you're very, very welcome here in Downing Street. As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine, and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace for Ukraine based on sovereignty and security for Ukraine. So important for Ukraine, so important for Europe, and so important for the United Kingdom. So I'm much looking forward to our discussions here this afternoon. Thank you very much for making the time to come.
Additionally, the UK has pledged £12.8 billion in support to Ukraine since February 2022, with £7.8 billion allocated for military assistance. These developments underscore the UK's commitment to standing by Ukraine for as long as the conflict endures.
Of course, this money is about helping to secure the territorial integrity of Ukraine and protecting your security. And that's our side of it. And in the next few days, the disbursements of money, we should be able to make those to Ukraine. I know that they are needed as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Minister, for being able to join us today. Thank you.
Now, on February 22nd of this year, OPM sent an email to all federal civilians asking them to provide, you remember this, approximately 5 bullets of what they did last week. I am now directing each member of the department's civilian workforce, just civilian, to provide those 5 bullets on what they accomplished in their specific jobs last week.
Defense Secretary Peter Hegseth has mandated that all Department of Defense civilian employees submit 5 bullet points detailing their work accomplishment from the previous week. This directive responds to an email from the Office of Personnel Management, which is part of a broader initiative led by Elon Musk to assess federal employee productivity. Employees are required to reply within 48 hours of receiving the OPM email, scheduled for March 3rd, and must copy their supervisors. Submission should exclude classified or sensitive information and may influence weekly situation reports. Non-compliance could lead to further review.
Now, on February 22nd of this year, OPM sent an email to all federal civilians asking them to provide, you remember this, approximately 5 bullets of what they did last week, describing their accomplishments. Well, the Department of Defense employees received direction to, at first, just initially pause responding to this request to OPM, just to pause. I am now directing each member of the department's civilian workforce, just civilian, to provide those 5 bullets on what they accomplished in their specific jobs last week, to reply to that email and CC their immediate supervisors. It's a simple task, really, as Elon said, as the president recognized in our first cabinet meeting, just a pulse check. Are you there out to DoD civilians?
Initially, some agencies advised employees against responding, but following a review, compliance has become mandatory. This measure aims to justify positions amid significant government downsizing. Critics express concern that such cut could impede essential government functions. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more trending topics.